Podcast. I'm here with my counterpart, Jesse Aaron. It's going to be a great show tonight. We're really excited for our guest tonight. A few things to knock out first. I'm going to pass it over to Jesse. We're going to talk about our sponsors and our giveaway. Jesse?
What's up, guys? Yeah, let's get in. First off, Optimum Power Sports with Shane Jewell. Philip at Dollar Cycles. I want to thank him for the giveaway he gave us for this week, and I will be announcing that shortly. Also, Trevor Dunn, DirtLab Concepts Graphics, which will be on with us here shortly. He's got some pretty sweet news coming up as well. But, yeah, let's go ahead and jump into our winner. Let me pull that up. So we asked everybody to like, share, comment the Facebook page, and subscribe to YouTube. After me and Shane got talking about it, I realized that was a little too much. So we're just on there. But out of people who did do everything, our winner, and I will be messaging him as well, is Braden Jace out of Lawrenceburg, Tennessee. Braden, you are our winner for the 100% goggles and backpack. I will be messaging you for your address and having it shipped to you soon.
All right, guys. So tonight's you're lagging just a little bit, Jesse. You got it knocked down over there? You're good now, I think. Maybe
yeah.
All right, good to go. So we do this podcast obviously from our own homes. So I'm actually up in Tennessee, and Jesse's down in Alabama. So we got a little technical difficulties that we sometimes have to work through, but so far so good tonight. Super excited about our guest, Trevor Dunn. I'm going to bring him on in just a second. He's one of my best friends. We talk pretty much every day. He just got back from a trip from Motocross of Nations. That's pretty big deal. Team USA took home a win. First thing too, I want to acknowledge a couple of people here. They finally somebody sent me in some jerseys right here. So I got Riker Watkins jersey here. Thanks for sending that one in. And I've also got Tristan Wygand's jersey. Thanks for sending that in. I know a few more people are going to be sending theirs in. I'm super excited about that. I got a huge wall here. I'm gonna hang up a lot of these jerseys on when I get them in and get them looking good. Super excited for that. And without further ado, let's bring on Trevor and let's get into the stream tonight. Bring on Trevor right now. There he is.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, all right. You lagging just a little bit, but not too bad.
Who, me?
Yeah, just a little bit. Not too bad.
Oh, man. We'll come in here and, take it over. But, no, what's up, guys? I'm Trevor Dunn. I'm 24 years old from Mobile, Alabama. For you guys that don't know, I do own DirtLab Concepts, GFX. We produce graphics and ship all over the country here in Mobile, Alabama. And, so that's a little bit about myself.
Awesome, man. So I kind of got firsthand with all that, with how DirtLab came about. But for those of you who don't know, give us a little background on that, Trevor. I know you'd worked for a previous graphic company before, and y'all parted ways and that sort of thing. But tell us how DirtLab kind of came about.
Yeah, it's a funny story. Always coming out of high school, I always wanted to, work an industry job, somehow be involved around dirt bikes. That was as a kid, like, you grow up racing your entire life. That's something that you want to do, and you enjoy it, you like it. So, I actually worked for a Husky dealership when I was probably 19, something like that. Maybe a little younger, and worked there for about a year and a half. And then that kind of didn't pan out how I wanted it to. And then it was fortunate enough the opportunity came about to, learn the graphic industry and work for another company. And that was for about 4 years. And that was an awesome experience. Learned a lot, met a lot of people, did a lot of things. So, I'm very blessed for that opportunity. And then, some things happened there and it changed. Some things changed internally in the company. And basically, at that point, I decided I was going to go into business for myself. Obviously, I have a great partner, Corey Allen. He brings some good qualities to the team that we have here, and so it's been a really cool experience. It's been about a year now, and man, I can't be any more thankful for sure.
Awesome. You have any idea how many graphic set you sold in just a year's time?
Man, that's a good question. I'd say definitely probably over 1,000 sets for sure in a year. I mean, maybe
Jesse,
more than that.
how many you got, Jesse?
Say what?
How many do you got? How many graphic set have you bought? I know I bought a few.
I'm on number 5. Yeah, I think I'm on number 5 with him now.
That sounds about right.
I actually, it's kind of crazy how me and Trevor even came to being friends. I actually ordered graphics from his former employer, and then we just kind of got to messaging back and forth. And they were sent to my house, and the mailman actually, or somebody along the way, it got ripped open, and like a couple of the stickers fell out. Like I sent him an email, and then next thing you know, they were on my door like the next day. And I don't even remember how we even, associated with each other at that point. And then, push come to shove, we ended up meeting each other somewhere. And then lo and behold, like I said, we talk pretty much every day. And I've been a supporter of his company since day one. I'm glad to see it do big things. I know he's got some ideas for promotion and stuff later on, maybe in the States. So we're going to get into that tonight too. He might could help us kind of open some eyes tonight too on what he sees from the side, since he ran one of the largest races in Alabama a couple of years ago with Backyard Brawl, a super huge event. Was a super good time. I attended that. I think Jesse, you were there too. Super good time that we had. Great time with that. So lo and behold, you and a couple other friends hit up MXON of Nations. Can you tell us a little bit about that? As I've never been.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good event. No, I mean, it's one of those things where you go there, obviously hoping that the U.S. is going to win. It's been 11 years, and we all decided like, hey, let's go. I was on the fence. I had a lot of friends that were going, and it's like, nah, I don't know if I want to. And then my buddy Jordan called me up and said, hey, do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, let's go. It was about 3 weeks, two or 3 weeks before. We waited until about the last minute and, jumped in the car, drove up there. Dude, it was a blast. I'd do it all over again. I'd do it this weekend. To be there and the U.S. win, that put the cherry on top. It was the racing, the atmosphere, the people. It blows your mind, like how many people can come from, other countries, like travel the world just to come to MXON to watch like their country race.
Yeah. Jesse, you get to watch any? I watched a little.
Yeah, I actually went back and watched. I try to watch all 3. I know I watched the third and last race, and I think the second one is what I remember the most of, which I had to just watch it through YouTube. But I know the last episode I mentioned last time we had MXON Nations at here in the States, so we had a motor, and I was hoping we didn't, and we almost got away with it. It seemed like, but the track, I mean, I was just watching it through the TV. I was highly impressed at the riders. I mean, I just show you how skilled they are, how they were still able to lay down those type of times and still hitting Laraco's leap. And I mean, the track, Trevor, you obviously could give more detail, but the track looked kind of, some spots a little soupy, some spots very sandy and deep like normal, rutted. I mean, it was, I enjoyed watching it, and I couldn't imagine what it was like being there through all that. I've always kind of wanted to find a get up there, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I was really, really impressed with our guys this year. I mean, a lot of people doubted Justin Cooper and didn't think he was the right pick.
Me.
Not you. No,
me.
You had it, man. No, you had it picked.
Cooper 32. That's my boy right there. That's my dude.
And somebody asked me, like, do you think Christian Craig or Justin Cooper should have gone? I'm like, you know what? I mean, if I had to pick, I'd say Justin Cooper. But I mean, he really showed out. Like, that MX2 guy is the one that, like, really seals the deal. That has to be really, really good. And they played their cards well with the gate picks and, putting him on the inside. And our team played it right. The French team was really good. France was really good. Belgium was good. I mean, now don't get me wrong. There were guys that challenged them. And Yago Geertz right there with Eli Tomac, the first moto. I mean, he was all over him. And then you have Maxime Renault from France. Mitch Evans from Australia. Jet was incredible. And then you have Matt Guadagnini from Italy. I mean, those dudes, they brought a whole different level. I mean, those guys, but our U.S. guys really showed up and showed out. So I was impressed.
Yeah, for sure. Dude, can you tell me
where did y'all end up watching from?
There we go.
So yeah, we watched the section right after, they got mechanics area. You got to start mechanics area, then you go left, back this way, and then towards the right where they drop down the hill for the first time. So we watched that whole section over there, them come off that off camber, hit the wall jump, hit the triple up. That we got to see that whole side. That was just where you could see the most from. The day before, we watched over on the rollers, watching the leap, watched a few guys crash off the leap, which was gnarly. But yeah, it was good. It was some good racing. The wall jump took out a few guys in one race, so it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, man, it was impressive to watch. Even on TV or whatever. We were all, of course, texting amongst ourselves. So y'all were obviously part of the party. So y'all's answering didn't come through near as often. So, but dude, how impressive was Jet Lawrence, man? First ride on a 450. I've been telling everybody, nobody says, "Oh, you're Lawrence butt kisser, dude. Oh, you lick his balls or whatever." Like,
yeah, bro. I mean, dude, Jet's an animal. We all know the kid is gnarly. I mean, what can you not say about him? I mean, whatever he's doing it right. Him and his brother, they're enjoying it. They got a good agent. They got a good program. I mean, those dudes are on it. I mean, there's no other way around it. I think they just put in the work week in and week out, and they have fun. But to see him ride that 450 like that was impressive. I did. I mean, I knew he would do good, but I didn't think he would like pull up on Chase Sexton and pass him.
Yeah, and he did that. That last moto when he passed him, it was like he didn't bump him, but
No.
I think that was an assertive pass to like say, "Hey, buddy, this is going to be me and you next year." Like, I kind of think and I feel so bad for Chase because he kind of fell at a really crappy time, in my opinion, because he's getting the end of, badass Tomac, and then he's going to fall right into this, once in a lifetime generational rider. And he's going to have to deal with him for titles. Like, I know Ferrandis is going to be there as well. We all seen the speed of Ferrandis. He was the fastest dude on the track. That last moto, or was the second moto, or did he come from the back? Yeah, second moto, he come from the back and come through the pack. Was just on a tear, and then of course the last moto he just fell over while leading or whatever. But he's gonna be there for sure. But like, how many years does Ferrandis have left? It's for the next foreseeable future. We're looking at Chase Sexton and we're looking at Jet Lawrence, and I kind of felt like that pass in that last moto was a little bit of "Hey, buddy, you got me to deal with," sort of thing. Coming, I'll be here next year, sort of thing. I thought it was really impressive, but one thing I do want to ask you is foreign country wise, like who did you see there that was next level, like the Jet Lawrence type of rider, from wherever else?
I keep up with the GPs a little bit. Like I stay
Yeah.
pretty relevant with the names and who's coming up, who's riding for who. I mean, like I said, I mentioned his name and Yago Geertz. Yago Geertz just came off of the MX2 bike. He was the guy that was runner up. He was leading the championship going into the last round against Tom Vial, and unfortunately crashed, didn't win, missed out. But for him to jump on a 450, obviously was impressive to me to see him stay that close to Tomac. I mean, he was a beast. Yeah, him, Matt Guadagnini with Italy, he was impressive. The 250 guys, Kai de Wolf from the Netherlands, he was pretty impressive. And the thing is like, the GPs have a rule. And I think it's 22 or 23. Once you reach that age, you have to get off the 250 bike and you have to move up into the GP class, which is incredible. Incredible.
I like that rule.
I like it too. I mean, I do. I think it keeps guys fresh. It keeps them coming through the ranks. And what people don't understand is in that series, they run over there. They run EMX 125, they run EMX 250, and all this. And they even have an 85 class they run at some. So those kids race that whole series coming up, and the teams are there watching them, so they can get picked up at really young ages. And they move through the ranks like that. But yeah, Kai was impressive. Calvin Valandren from the Netherlands. What was wild is that Glenn Coldenhoff, had such an impressive year in 2018, and this was not his year. I think he crashed every single moto, and his bike blew up one moto almost. So it's crazy. Yeah. The Netherlands, I would say, could have had a better year, no doubt. Jorge Prado was good. The Ferez kid was good. I mean, those guys, they're gnarly, man. I mean, but yeah.
Did you? I saw it on. I think it was TikTok. The dude on the 252 stroke that busted Laraco's leap.
Yeah.
I forget what that brand is, but it's basically a revamped Yamaha.
Yeah, so it's a Fantic. Yeah, it's a Fantic. They basically
I've seen that.
They work with Yamaha.
Fantic, yeah.
Yeah, they work with Yamaha on like producing the bikes. Like they use some Yamaha technology, but it's Fantic's their own brand. And they have a MX2 like in an MXGP class. I'm pretty sure they run a full factory effort over there in Europe, but they're impressive. And they also have a 300 two-stroke package. I want to say they run in the GPs. Now don't quote me on that. I don't know if they ran that at MXON or not. So, but that dude was shredding. It was cool to hear a two-stroke on the track.
Yeah, for sure. I had a good time, just watching the race. And for me, that is the one race that I everybody gets hyped up for A1 and Supercross and all that stuff. But for me, that is the one race. Like that no matter where it's at, I always make sure that's on my calendar of races to watch. Huge USA supporter for sure. Obviously. We talked to Casey last week about his junior win. It's like I think we swept. We got the juniors, we got the pit bike, and we got the MXON. All three. Did we get the vet?
Yes, I'm pretty sure we got the vet. I want to say we did. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah, I think we did. I want to say that Villapoto and Brown, and who was the third? Osborne. I want to say we swept it. Like America pretty much dominated of everything. Everything through this year. And that says, I don't know. Everybody talks about all these foreign riders come over, to America and completely dominating or whatever. Which I mean, so say they do and say they don't. Supercross in my mind, I don't feel like they dominate near as much. But motocross seems like they've been kicking our tail. But then you look back and Tomac has won 4 of the last 6 or 7. I mean, Roxon won in, 16?
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
And then Ferrandis won, of course, the year before. But other than that, I mean, I feel like our American riders have pretty much kind of held their own. Like if you really go back and look at it, I mean, I know Musquin and Tomac battled it out in 19. Was it 19?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the year it was down to them two in the title, and Tomac won. It's been Osborne. Ferrandis and Roxon were able to steal a couple. But other than that, I felt like. But it's been an 11-year drought since we were able to put a team together that was capable of. And I think everybody knew that this was our year. Like there was no. I honestly feel like we could have went anywhere in the world, and I think this year's team would have won. Like I just don't. I don't think that there's anybody else that could have done it other than, for me, Australia was the wild card. We all knew France was going to be good.
Yeah,
we didn't know we didn't always are. We didn't know what Jet was going to do on the 450. We knew what Hunter would bring on the 250, but Mitch Evans is coming off an injury.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Mitch has been, he had a rough go in the MXGP class this year. I mean, he had a 2 or 3 year deal with Factory HRC over in Europe. Unfortunately, he's lost that ride now. He went to Ruben Fernandez from Spain. And I think Mitch has got something. I think he's got something to prove, but he was fast. He was good. He was consistent. Unfortunately, I watched him crash really hard off the tabletop coming off the back section. And he basically swapped up, caught a slick spot, and got tossed off the side of the jump. So that really killed it for Australia. It's one of those things where I personally said if we were going to win, this is our year to win. Home soil, red bud. Our riders were really good this year. We did, you hate to say it, but the champion from Europe, Tim Geiser, was not there. Jeffrey Hurlings was not there. The MX2 champion, Tom Vial, was not there from France. France, I think. Or Italy, one of the two. I think it's France.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah, I mean, but I think our guys were still incredible. I think our home crowd made it even better for them. You guys would just have to be there to understand the atmosphere. It was insane.
Yeah, it looked crazy, man. Chainsaws, horns, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts looking on the screen. Like, and everybody sees all the videos on Instagram and that sort of stuff, that sort of thing. So it was sick, and I know you've been to several things like that. Where you've ridden overseas.
Yeah.
I know you've done a race in India, in Germany. I mean, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's cool to go over and see, and I think a lot of the reason those guys are, I think, gnarly, and I think Casey even mentioned it last week on your guys' show, how the track, how just beat up, like hard pack, whooped out. I think those guys just train on gnarlier, I guess, terrain than us. I mean, when I went over there, like just in Germany, for example, I mean, the tracks aren't prepped. I mean, they might have the faces worked in or, maybe graded a little bit, but you're going to ride a hard pack rough. And if it's raining, it's going to be slick. I mean, they don't have the track prep, the prep practice like we do over here. I mean, you show up to a track, you find which one you want to go to, you pay, your money, and you just ride how the track is. Simple as that. And I think that's why it's gnarly. And those guys are on a different level because they don't get, mint conditions. And I think that's what makes them a little bit better sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, we're going to jump off. Jesse's going to jump off right quick since he's lagging so bad. We're having some technical difficulties on his end right now that we think we can figure out here. He's going to jump off right now and hop in, come back in on his phone. Anyway, while I got you here and everything. So, dude, if we were to send 3 next year, let's eliminate. We're knocking out Tomac. Who's your pick for 3 next year? I mean, or who's our 3 to send a chance to repeat? I mean, could we pull Tomac back in? And that sort of thing.
After watching Tomac and you see all the stuff he's posting and everything, I mean, he's enjoying it more than ever, and I think we can all see that. He's loving it right now. I think it's a team atmosphere. Like he's finally getting to the point where he enjoys riding and racing his dirt bike. And he said it's going to make it hard to step away. So we'll see. We'll see if he does it. It's one of those things where you'll never know until he says, "Hey, I'm going to stay in and I'm going to do outdoors, or I'm going to do Motocross of Nations." He might end up doing something like Cairoli. You know how Cairoli came in, did a few races, raced MXON. It's one of those deals. As far as our 250 guy, I don't know who our 250 guy is going to be this year. We know, or this coming up year for 23. We know that the Justin Cooper's solid. We know obviously Jet Lawrence, Hunter Lawrence, they're solid guys. We saw a few guys on the podium. Well, yeah, I mean they're not going to be our US.
Yeah, so we're going to bring Jesse back in now. We think we got it all figured out. We're going to bring him back in. I know he had a couple of questions for you. We're going to bring him back in and get his questions for you, and then we're going to go into talking about some. There he is. Hey,
can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
You cutting your head off a little bit.
What about now?
Yeah, you're good now.
Good.
Sorry, guys. I had a copy Casey from last week, and I bought a new camera, new microphone. I got everything new except a laptop, and I was trying to use my little old HP, and she just ain't strong enough. So I'm back on my phone and can't use all my fancy tech right now, but hopefully I'll have that squared away for next week.
Yeah, here you go.
That's all good, man.
But
that's all good.
Anywho, but yeah, I want to start with Trevor on. So you, like you say, went over going up the Red Bud for MXON Nations and experience with that, and then riding overseas. I know I personally haven't, but I've had people. I've made some friends from like South America, from like Argentina, Peru, places like that. And luckily I got to talk with them for a long time over the years on what it's like. Because I asked them, I said, my first question, how'd you end up in Alabama? And it just goes from there. And but it is crazy how, and I want to link this into our local topic here.
Yeah, it's a good topic. Yeah, it's a good point.
But what a lot of people don't get to experience, like some of us have, is talking with them guys from South America, right? And like how you just said, those tracks aren't prepped and groomed like ours is. But a lot of them are still just as fast as we are. And they're riding on junk for motocross tracks. So when I hear people complain about our tracks on how it's prepped or not prepped or how it's getting beat up, blah, 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 I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of times that all those conversations I've had over the years with foreign riders and how their track conditions are and how fast they still are. I want to be like, y'all have no idea. I personally don't either, but I have rode some pretty janky tracks, and I've ridden some of the best groomed prep tracks you can ask for. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. It's crazy. I mean, you'll never hear, anywhere, anybody from out of our country, like if they come from Mexico, South America, Europe, if they ever come ride in the US, they're like, oh my gosh, your guys' tracks are awesome. Like, this is the best dirt ever. Like I've never rode anything this good. And to us, it might be a mediocre day. Like, you know what I mean? But to them, it's the best thing they've ever seen. And that's why I make that point. I think that those guys just like riding their dirt bikes, and that's what they have to ride. So they're going to do it, Right. And I think that's just what they're used to. But yeah, I mean, I think we all have to enjoy riding our dirt bikes every day. And, all the track owners here or in our local area, they give us some place to ride and they prep and they do what they can, So I think, we got to give a big shout out to them. So.
Oh, for sure. And like I said, man, it's crazy seeing where some of these other riders come from, what type of terrain and conditions they grew up riding on versus what we grew up riding on, but yet speed, skill level, it's just as good, sometimes better than we are. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, and I can even relate to that subject because I'm from South Alabama. I'm from Mobile. We all know down here I'm by the beach. It's sandy. That's all I rode my entire life, And then once I moved up to North Alabama, which would have been in 2019, I was riding McClarty, I was riding Big Springs, I was riding Mill Creek on the regular. And I was never used to that hard pack ruts, all that. I mean, I liked it, but I wasn't good at it. And
Right.
then as I rode it more with, if we were going to the track with a good group, I got better. And then I enjoyed going to qualifiers that were ruddy and rough, deep ruts. And I excelled in that and I got better. So, it's just one of those things where if you can mix up your riding style and get better, I always say you get better on your bad days, because if you don't like the track or the way it's shaped up, go out there and continue to ride. That's how you get. So.
Yeah, I agree. I've rode some tracks in my day that I honestly could care less to ever see again, much less ride again. But that's just part of who you are and how you take home things. You just gotta do your best, find a positive in things.
Yeah, you do.
I've had some of my worst races on the best groomed prep track around, and I still couldn't put myself together. You know what I mean? And it all sometimes is a mental thing too. I never was good on hard pack tracks. Like, I know Warrior MX was one of the ones that, it would start out good, and then by halfway through first moto, just the way that dirt and that terrain was, you couldn't help it. It's going to end up hard pack. And my entire racing career, I struggled with hard pack tracks. Just never could find that groove. So, yeah, I was always sour with hard pack tracks like that. But, can't always be perfect.
No, it can't.
Lucky y'all didn't ride fair races.
Yeah, no,
Dude,
never got those.
I've done one fair race, like, I don't even know how long ago. And like I said, I've done one.
Shoot, that's all. Up here, we raced like 10 fairs a year.
Y'all Tennessee, y'all have y'all's own fair nationals.
Yeah, we have a straight up fair series right there. Like,
to me, like being down here, and we have a huge fair, right? It's a Greater Gulf State Fair. To me, if we could have dirt bike fair races down here, the amount of people that could see it that have never seen dirt bikes might spark an interest in these kids that, I think it's awesome to have. I wish it was more at more fairs, because the average person doesn't get to see a dirt bike doing that every day,
Right.
And that usually your locals, like everybody, when the fair comes to town, they all go there. And if there's dirt bikes,
our fair is going on right now. It's 9 days, which we raced it last Friday. We raced it last Friday, and Brock threw down. Like, he was like, man, I love this. Like, he was dominating every class or whatever. So he loved the caliber of rider that goes to the fair races aren't necessarily, you get kids that race once a year at the fair show up sometimes,
Still,
though,
it can always turn into something more. Dude, I got started riding dirt bikes just because my dad rode when he was young, but we were somewhere public and we saw some bikes on the back of a truck, and my dad was like, I basically said I wanted to ride, or let's go to the track and watch. And from that point forward, I wanted a dirt bike, just seeing it sparked my interest. So,
yeah, and that's the thing that's another thing too. We could look into, as far as promotion side of it. I feel like we're not tapping into a lot of these plays, like you said, that Greater Gulf Fair or whatever. That's a prime opportunity for a promoter to come in and sweep that up. If you can get a night for fair racing or whatever, I mean, I know you have experience doing the promotion side of things. Could you dive into like that and maybe help out some of our promoters up here that you, let's not call anybody out or anything, but let's let's spark a little debate here, maybe to hey, look, if you don't want to do it, there's somebody that's going to come in and do it, and hey, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's one of those things. Like, obviously we had the backyard brawl, like, I'm not going to say I ran that whole race because I didn't. Now, did we have the idea and we took it to Hugh and Hugh was all about it? Yes. Now, we did all the promotion as far as Facebook, the advertising, the race schedule, sharing, calling guys, telling them about the event. And, I listened to one of your guys' podcasts and you guys were actually talked about it. And Jesse said, were any of those guys, did they get show up money? No, nobody got show up money. But I think there may have been two or three guys that we comped their race fees because I mean, they did drive a really long way. They probably drove at least,
sure.
8 to 10 hours to a track they've never been to before. But we we promoted it and tried to, obviously social media, it's free. It's a marketing tool that's there. And I understand that, to the track owners, that might not be, they probably have a full-time job, and they're not worried about, making all their money off the race. But if they have the race and then they're not happy with the turnout and, they're like, well, what could I have done different? Well, there's a lot of things that I'm sure you could have done different as far as promoting, as far as social media. Say, text your friends that have Facebook and say, hey man, can you share my post about the race this weekend? Even maybe it's hire a video guy to come out and do a video of the track with a few guys riding, promote the event. There's multiple different ways, and then sponsorship packages, this and that. But that takes more than just one person to do. It almost takes a team of people.
So let me ask you this: as successful as that race was,
mm-hmm.
why has there only been one of those since?
That's a good question. I mean,
there's no backyard brawl anymore. We're dirtlab brawl. We got dirt days. Trevor actually had an event.
I'm just generally asking
mm-hmm.
because there have been people ask that question before.
Yeah. No, I that's a good question. I'm not really sure. I think it just takes. I mean, we're young. I'm young. I'm motivated. I've been around the sport for a long time, and I just think it's one of those things where it takes having an idea, going to somebody, and making it happen. Because everyone has ideas, right? But
everybody has an idea.
Everybody has an idea, but until you actually put it on paper, sit down and have a plan, and then post, and make it happen. And that's it. To me, it was just an idea like, hey, how cool would it be if we have a race? Obviously, at the time, I was with Backyard Design, so it was a good promotional thing for us as well. And so we could promote our brand at that moment and also try to help Hugh. And, to put on something for the pros, I feel like Alabama hadn't had anything for the pros. We did a long time ago when Monster Mountain used to have the Pro-Am race there and had a big amount of money.
Yeah.
I think Mill Creek had a few Pro-Ams with some big payouts. But I feel like at that point we had not had something in quite a while. We didn't base everything off the pros. We wanted it to be something for everybody. But I did want to we actually did we did 2 A classes. We did an Open A1 and an Open A2. Like how you guys do in arena cross.
Right, yeah.
And the reason we did that is because we knew we had a lot of guys coming, and a lot of guys don't have a 250 and don't have a 450. So it was better to do 2 A classes, just an A1 and A2, so everybody ran 2 classes.
That's why we started it years ago with the arena cross, because at one time people did have a 250 and a 125 or a 254 stroke, 454 stroke. Because back then, once again, a lot different, a little bit more affordable, that kind of thing. Well, when all that started happening, that's when Dad came up with, I say he came up with the idea. I just know that's where I have seen it originate, is through our arena cross, was Open A1 and 2, Open B 1 and 2, because it turned into people just only had one bike. Well,
Right.
nobody show up and ride just one class, especially A class. If you're coming to race for money, you want to race all the money classes you can.
For
Well, if
sure.
you're, show up on a 450, you've only got one class to ride. 250, one class to ride. So I like that move. I like the open 1 and 2, and
Yeah.
because even with open A1 and 2, you might have 12 guys sign up for open A1 and only have 7 in open A2. I don't know why that is, but I look at the race order every weekend during Intercross, and I promise, every open A1 always has the most, and then open A2 usually has half or a little less.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what the factor there is you have, let's say, probably 5 vet guys that are 25,
Yeah,
30 plus that they do want to race an A class, but they also want to race a 25 plus
right.
or a
Yeah,
30 to where they have a little
Is
bit
it
of
pace?
payback. Yeah, it does.
Because it
Yeah.
pays, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they probably want a little bit of both. Like they want to get that gate drop with the A guys and get that speed, that raw intensity on the first lap. But they also want to battle with guys their age as well. You know what I mean? So that's probably why they don't run both A classes. That is a good point though.
yeah. No. I know we got vet guys who ride one A class and then a vet class, and
Yeah.
then sometimes they try to find a third class to ride, and also it has to do with entry fee. I mean, sometimes guys
Sure.
don't want to pay $100 for 2 classes when they can pay $85 for 2 classes and still get money in both. I get it. So
Oh
there's
yeah.
a lot of different factors that play into that, and there's a lot of different factors that play in everything. I mean, from the bike, the rider, the track, the classes to just everything. And that's like that backyard brawl when y'all did the open A1 too. I think that was a great move because, like you said, you had guys show up with just one bike, but they
Yeah.
had two money classes plus the dash for cash, and you know obviously it was a great move because it was a great show. Uh, you know, like you said, we haven't had. I don't think it's as much. Well, I guess it would be as much. Somebody hasn't done anything toward the actual pros
Mm-hmm.
on the. And my side, my view of it is, we ain't had enough pros to do anything with.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I mean, I get that for sure. I mean, right now, I mean, I guess in the state of Alabama, you could say you got me, Jordan Fancher, Johnny Murphy. I guess some people probably know him as Bugsy, Gage Dagnan. You got Bailey Graves.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean, and then you have a lot of vet guys that will come out and do something. And maybe I'm missing a few other guys. Sorry if I miss your guys' name, but yeah, I mean, right now you have those. So I mean, what is that? 5, 6 guys?
Yeah, and they're not consistent. You may have one show up, you may have all 6 show up, but more or less, it's not all of y'all. You know what I
Right,
mean?
of course. I mean, I'm bummed up right now. So,
Right.
but
Well, you don't
yeah.
ride a single arena cross
Oh no,
round,
no,
and
I
then
don't. No,
Bailey does. The other guys you mentioned, y'all don't ride every single outdoor
no,
round either. You know what I
no,
mean?
we don't.
That's
No,
on
I
so,
mean,
so much.
we have obviously like last year we chased Loretta's. I mean, that was our goal this year. And everybody has a different goal every year.
Oh yeah.
You could wake up one morning and say, "Hey, mom and dad, next year I don't want to run the Alabama series. I want to just try for Loretta's." I mean, I've been there, I've done that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just use the local, let's say you have a race one weekend and there's nothing else going on. They're going to use that as a gate drop because everything is mental. I mean, you need to be behind the gate. And if you're not going to have that feeling. You show up to your area qualifier, your reaction time's not going to be there. You're not going to be
Right.
comfortable starting with a lot of people. So, I mean, yeah, we're not at every race. I mean, I'm 24, almost 25. We get to the point where life kind of just happens, things go on, and work
Wait
and
till
everything.
you
Oh yeah, no, hopefully that'll be a while from now. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that as far as, yeah, I mean, we haven't done anything for the pro. We did that. I think it's about time to get something else rolling for that and maybe do a little bit maybe a good race here coming up soon. So maybe that'll happen. We'll never know. But yeah, I think it's a good thing though. Too obviously, I get the side of the little bikes, the kids, because that's where the sports growth is going to happen. It's from there and on out to where my age now. But I think that if you're trying to promote just maybe a single race or a short series, do something with the pros, because for me, I know a lot of people. A lot of people keep. I wouldn't say. I try to say that. Not. We all text each other. We have group chats. We have friends, Facebook, this and that, Instagram. And if you have a lot of people saying, "Hey, where are you guys going this weekend?" We're going to such and such race. It's got $5,000 pro purse payout. Like they're having pit bike racing at night. They're doing this. They're doing that. Like they're gonna be like, "Dude, that sounds fun. Like let's go there." Like if you're going, we're going. So it's one of those things where a lot of, I guess, the pro guys or top level B guys have followers, if that makes sense, and they want to go hang out at the same races. So I think with maybe a pro might bring 8 to 10 other little riders, or maybe somewhere around there, and those 8 to 10 little riders are going to bring their family. We might show up with us and a girl, or maybe our moms or dads, whatever, but the little kids, like you always say, they're going to bring the family, they're going to bring the grandmother, they're going to be, and that's gate fees and all that. But I think we need a little bit of both, and maybe if we promote something for the A guys or the pro guys, if we promote something good and do it right, then you're going to draw from out of state. I think we haven't had a lot of people come from Georgia or Mississippi, Upper Tennessee, Kentucky to a big race in a long time. I know obviously the first race at McClarty was massive. Nobody would ever expect that, but it was huge. I think that we need to see more from out of state. I feel like years ago we had way more from out of state riders at our races than we do now. I may be wrong, but
yeah, I mean, I think it's always been a hit or miss thing. Sometimes you get a handful of them that's pretty consistent, then they kind of fall off and go elsewhere, and then you go through a time period where you get none. I mean, I've seen it too, because like I remember, especially when we had Cali contingency. I know I talk about it a lot because
I was part of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was such a prime time to have it, and so much good out of it. Like I'll use Johnny Moore for example, and
Johnny. Yeah.
I mean, I used to hate when he showed up because he's such a cool guy, and you just knew on average he's taking your money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no hate toward him by no means. I'm just saying, he was one of our regular out of staters. You know what I mean? Like he showed up to a ton of local Alabama races as an out of stater. I mean, he was one of the ones you can about guarantee you would see every weekend, especially if it was a Cali race. I mean, like me and Shane's talked about before, the Miller brothers, they same way. They chased that Cali contingency, and we had such a hot program with it. They showed up at least I say at least 2 times out of the month, 2 races out of the month. They were there to take your money too. I mean, there was just so much more to offer back then than there is now. And like what y'all did for the backyard brawl, unfortunately, I feel like that's what it's going to take to get that type of crowd again. And after so long, this is that's just going to become normal, and then I feel like you'd be right back to square one.
Yeah, I mean that's the big key factor. You have to constantly be changing with the things that are going on in the industry. Because if you don't, you just lose touch. People get tired of the same thing over again. So it's just one of those things where you have to brighten it up, bring something different, more activities. I guess at the races if it's possible. After hours or after practice is over, maybe throw in a little different format at one of the races or something. Like I think mini majors are a prime example. I think mini majors is an awesome race. Especially for it's nothing but mini bikes. So I think the format's really cool. You don't get to be around a local track and, have, 6 lap motos or around 15-minute motos. So I think maybe something along those lines would be cool to do for once. I mean, I know you have your guys that may not be able to do the 20-minute loud, 20-minute motos, they get gassed out. They don't like it. But I mean,
I
at
don't.
some point, yeah, at some point, someone has to change something, right? That's how anything starts.
I tell you this, and I know he doesn't listen. He might, I don't know. But we went to a place called CGI facility up in is it Georgia, South Carolina?
Yeah,
state?
it's up there. It's up there. Yeah. And
So
now, don't get me wrong. Does Trey Figure's family own that? Maybe is it Figure that has that?
it's
We
just
race him.
I don't know. I think his name. I don't remember exactly his name. I met the owner. He's
Yeah.
already
Yeah, okay.
he lives on the property. He's got 2 tracks.
Yeah.
Got a little rain cross track and then a motocross track. Well, anyways, we drove up there spur of the moment with some friends to go racing because we haven't raced but once or twice this year, and it was a night race. And I said, you know what, screw it, let's just go try something different. And we showed up, and he had. I'll give him props because I was talking with him because like I said, it was a night race. So that day we were just hanging out, and I got to talking with him. And he had told me that his last race, he only had 80 entries. And I was like, that small track, whatever, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, it's whatever. No judgment, but that particular night, he doubled. He had 174 entries, and he did not get done till 1 o'clock in the morning. And,
Lord.
well, we started late because we had a rain delay. But he pushed through. And he had whole shot awards for just little bikes. He had 2 A classes plus a dash for cash, and a dash for cash was $3,000, a $3,000 purse. And on top of that, he only, and like I know Shane will like this, he only gave out awards first through third, and he had these goodie bags that were only for the winners in the small bike classes. So he had a lot going on for such a small, and I hate to say small event, but it was no series race. It was nothing special. It was just a local Saturday night race. People showed up, they raced, he had all this stuff to offer. And it got me thinking, I'm like, that was actually a pretty good move to do. But on the promoter side, that's a lot too.
It is.
That's a huge gamble to have a $3,000 purse, whole shot awards for 10 classes, and goodie bags for first place only, plus awards. Track prep, your employees that work it, blah blah blah. That's a huge gamble to take, but that's part of it too. At the same time.
It is. No, I mean, I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. What up?
So I just got a text from Jordan, and it says, Jacob Capps and Hunter Taylor are now going at it on Facebook. So apparently there's something and great, I'm tagged in it. So apparently, something's going on. I don't know. We haven't pissed off anybody lately. So,
our local drama continues, huh?
Dude, it's
what
quiet.
Podcast going.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Nah, but I mean,
it's been quiet lately,
Back to the CGI facility. I mean, you would probably go back there, right? After how that race was.
So I'll be honest with you. I contemplated because Ripton rode 3 classes. And he did a render cross format. So he didn't start practice till 6 o'clock that evening because of the rain delay. And then it rained again. So I did not ride my main event until 12:45 in the morning.
Nope.
Ripton rode his main event. He only rode his e-bike class by the time the main event came. He rode his main event at 11 o'clock. And I will say, despite that particular mishap, after seeing the place, experiencing it, the guy was super humble. He never got worked up. He never got bent out of shape about everything. He stayed going despite all the things that were thrown at him. every time I see him, I say, "Hey, man, you doing good?" "Oh yeah." He just said, "We're just rolling on. Glad to be here."
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I would go back. I mean,
yeah.
honestly, I would drive that. I think it was 5.5 hours pulling a camper, almost 6 hours. I could honestly say I would probably drive back because I follow him on social media, and dude, he has certain races. He'll have a whip contest at
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
He uses the big triple on his motocross track, and he has these portable spotlights, and he uses that, and he'll have a whip contest and give out money for that. He does pit bike race. He's got a pit bike track, but he lives on the property. Like his house sits on the property and everything, and like you pull in, it's just this big open field, and as soon as you top the crest of the hill, you see everything. It's real nice layout.
So
Yeah, I would probably go back for sure.
right, and that's what I mean by that. Like that guy, the owner, he put all his effort in there, right? Like
Yeah,
he put a lot of effort in. He, despite all the issues he had with the rain, like you said, he still tried. He still did what he could and made it happen. So, and with you saying how he did the trophies, the goodie bags, the this, that, like, you see that he's putting in the effort. He's trying something different, and it interests you. It makes you
yeah,
want to go back because it wants to keep it coming. And that's what I mean by doing something different, like the whip contest. Like even if we promoted a local race series that where we had events like that, if this here and there, you might have more people. It might spark more people's interest to come from out of state, or like be like, you know what, we need to go there this weekend because they're doing that. Like, that's a big deal. I mean, you do little things here and there, and it gets people going. They're like, hey, everybody's going there this weekend. Like I said, back to that. And it's one of those things where you got to keep it fresh, you got to keep it new and change with the times. So
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Trevor. I see your
yeah,
bib hanging in the background, and I know we forgot to hop in on that.
yeah, it's all
You
right.
we of course we've already spoke with Jordan about his experience at Loretta's.
Yeah,
Y'all were racing the same classes, that sort of thing. Right, quick. We're at the 56-minute mark, so we ain't got too terribly much longer. But tell us about your week. We know we obviously see didn't exactly go to plan, but for me personally, I think this was a big year for you. You kind of came out swinging. I felt like from an outside perspective, I felt like you gained a lot of speed this year. And you got into Loretta's, and I honestly felt like that you were riding really aggressive at Loretta's and looked good out there. I mean, I know you're going against some giants especially in that 250 Pro Sport class, but kind of makes you feel human when you get there. But tell us a little bit about your week. I know, like I said, I know it was a little bit not everything you wanted, but tell us a little bit about it.
nah, man. I mean, it goes as far back. Like I'll give a little backstory before I jump into the week. I mean, I've been to Loretta's 5 times now, and I went 07 on 50s, 2010, 2011, 2012, and then 2012 marked my dry spell for Loretta's, if I should say. And it was cool to go back and this past year, 10 years later. I felt like it was a good year for me. Last year, I felt really good. And then the year before, like that, 2021 at Mill Creek at the area qualifier, I snapped my humerus in half and had a plate and 10 screws put in. So I was done. That was a tough one to deal with. That was the first actual break I ever had. But then this year felt good on the bike, was racing a lot. We did really good at area qualifiers. I felt good. And then regionals came around, went to Texas. It was brutally hot as Texas in the heat of summer is. But yeah, did okay there. College boy didn't go my way there. But 250 Pro Sport was good. Unfortunately, missed it by one spot. Fell short, was 7th overall there. So I really debated on not going to my other regional. And something told me, I was like, okay, you know what? You qualified. You've been racing all this time, all year long. Why would you not go? So loaded up. Me and Sean Gatlin went to Ohio. Went there. Couldn't have gone any better. Ended up 4th overall in College Boy. So I got the ticket and I was amped. So we, trained, work. And the thing is, for me, I got to get everybody else dialed in with graphics before the Loretta's. So, it's kind of hard to train, but yeah, it was good. Got there, got the bike ready, rode with my buddy Peyton Reisner a few days before. Man, it was just surreal being there so many odd years later in the most prestigious class there at Loretta's Activity Pro Sport, which, and obviously College Boy. It was a rough week. It started off pretty bad. Tuesday, like started off pretty bad. I came out of the back section in Storyland. Throughout, the track's super beat out, hard packed. They water everything before everybody's moto, and came off the backside of a tabletop coming out of Storyland, just full throttle, no traction, no traction whatsoever. Slid, slammed the face of the triple necks, bent my subframe. Bike was torn up. My first lap was 9.5 minutes. That was my first lap time. That's how bad. Half the moto, pretty much. So, yeah, it was rough, man. Loretta's is a gnarly one, but got better. Next day, 250 Pro Sport, 25th. I was happy with the top 25 in 250 Pro Sport. Got to be honest on that one. Then, continued the week, got a little better. Ran the second moto. College Boy, was doing okay. Fell, ended up like 35th, something like that. And then, 250 Pro Sport came around. The Pro Sport, you had to pace yourself, man. 25 minutes plus one lap was gnarly on that track. Insane. And so, but unfortunately, yeah, it was a good week. Ended up 28th overall in 250 Pro Sport. Then the final day on Saturday, first lap come around. Off-camera triple after the finish. Landed, caught a slick spot once again. Front end knife, smashed my wrist, threw me off the bike. Yeah, snapped my wrist, tore my ligament in my hand, and I got a plate, 3 screws, and 6 pins in my arm, or my hand.
Successful week.
Oh, very successful. No, hey, look, I probably had the most fun on the track. Even though I hit the ground a lot, I still had a lot of fun. Like I said.
Let me ask. I asked Jordan when he was on with us, what was your favorite part and your absolute worst favorite part or worst part of the track?
Favorite, man, I don't know. It's kind of hard to have a favorite, but I'd say like
gnarly.
Yeah, it's that place is it was this year. It was even.
I think Jordan said he enjoyed the coming out of Storyland.
Yeah,
hit the little double or triple option right-handed.
Yeah,
you have floating tabletop into the sand section. He said you actually kind of, if I remember correctly, that was like somewhat of like a breathing spot because not the only place that wasn't just god awful. But I know he hated.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite was probably you after that sand section, you got that little big anthill, and then you come around the right, you got the 2 jumps out of that tree turn, and then you go into the sand beach section right before the finish. I'd probably say that's my my most fun section. You could kind of soak up the jumps a little bit, breathe, but that was probably my favorite. Least favorite was after the 10 Commandments. From the time you landed off 10 Commandments to the time you went into Storyland, whatever rut you were in, you had to stay in. That's how deep it was.
Oh yeah, they were so long too.
They were
so long coming all the way out there.
They were long. It was crazy, but yeah, I mean, But then you got guys like Mike Brown. The dude, you watch him in his moto, he would come out like the very outside of the turn, like square it up and cut across all the ruts, like it was nothing.
He in that I think it was what was it Saturday, that late moto. I was like, look at him. He was like banking out, and he just used them kind of like little whoops, and just and never would even get in them. Like we're taught to run in hard and lean into the rut and shoot around, and the dude was like, and that's a vet guy thing. Like Sean Gatlin taught me that years ago. He was like, why do you go in those ruts, man? And I'm like, that's where you go. You stick it in and you zoom around it. We don't do. He's like, we don't do ruts in the vet class. Like we avoid them at all costs.
Let me tell you, one of the cheaters I had back in my day, growing up racing, was my dad, because he started racing about, I don't know, a year or two after me and my brother did. And as I was getting older, like C class, B class, A class, whatever, he would ride like 2 vet classes, like 45, 50 plus. And he would come off the track and he'd be like, hey, that turn down there past the 4th hay bale, he said, don't go inside. I'm like, all right, cool. And he'd be like, the face of that tabletop, stay in the right side, don't go to the left side. Cause I'm like, he was always my cheater, and he was telling me what to stay away from and what lines to take. I take it from the slow guy, but this line worked out really good for me. And I, honest to God, like, I can say there was a bunch of times I would do what he said not to do or to do. And I'd like look at that spot as I'm going by and be like, I'm really glad he told me about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good to have eyes out on the track like that. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, we're all friends. Like if we got somebody different class, we're going to say, hey, dude, like that face has a gnarly kicker on the left side or the right side,
My favorite was Troy Miller. First, I'll never forget the first time I started using it. But we were, I think, I forgot what track we were at, but there was this big jump, and everybody was like skeptical about hitting it because it was new and this, that, and the other. And someone finally hit it, and I was standing there, and Troy Miller and I think Tim Castron and maybe Jonathan Dove and a few other people were hanging around. And I said, hey, Troy, what gear do you think he hit that in? And he looked real close, and he came back and said, it looked like he hit it in a shift gear.
Oh God!
Nice. That's a good job. Good job.
And I started. Hey, I swear, I started using that from there on out, and people's reaction, they just like, you smart ass.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's funny. I have to say though, if there's one track, and it's a different subject, but if there's one track in Alabama I would like to see come back, or I want to come back because I love it, it's Corner. I want it.
Look, as much as I despise my own track,
yeah,
I would too.
Oh yeah, I know it's tough.
Hey, everybody that's listening, it's not because we didn't want to. It's physically impossible at this point because that track, as good as it was, as good as the dirt and the sand and the layout, a lot of people, including myself, compared it to a natural. It was like a natural motocross track,
Yeah.
Not a lot of additive stuff and all that. I mean, it was just natural. But man, that track started deteriorating real bad.
I can see it. Yeah, for sure.
That sand washing away. It legit would take my dad 2 weeks every day in the afternoon on the tractor, getting all that sand and that loose dirt pulled back in and getting the faces back normal. I mean, it legit took 2 weeks for one day of somewhat fun for him, and there's also, I later came to find out after we shut down, there's the spot on the track where you come up to start straight, hang a right, hang a left by the building, and you jump that little ski jump down, and you got that left. There's what's called an earth rock there, and it's like 100-foot rock that you can't do nothing with, and that was starting to show and develop in that turn. And there was just so many factors. I mean, he was getting wore out, but as far as the track itself, it's physically impossible. It's gone. I mean, it's cattle field again. And yes, I ain't gonna lie, there's days I do miss it, and then I start thinking about some of the races I had on there, and I'm like, no, I don't miss it. But yeah, unfortunately,
I know. I just had to say it. Yeah, I just had to say it. But no, I mean, you say that. It's a good point. I mean, a lot of people don't realize like owning a track is a full-time job. It is. I mean, the prep
on top of your full-time job.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's why I give a shout out to all of our track owners that put in the effort to prep the track and have prep practice every weekend or here in here out. Like, I mean, they do that for fun. Like, I mean, obviously they charge people to ride. Like, that's one thing, but they give all of us guys a place to ride, and it's not easy on them. It's a lot of it, and we just got to be appreciative. And so, if you guys see them out at the track, you say, "Hey, appreciate all you do." So,
I encourage everybody to open your own track. Give it one time.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll pass.
I'll have a different.
I'll pay my money.
Me too. I'll pay my $30, $30 to $35 and ride. So
every time. So hey, Trevor. Also, we were down this spring, MX 191. You had a 2-day ride day or whatever. Any future plans to maybe have anything else like that, or
it's been talked about. There's a few places and a few things that I'd like to do. Obviously, the dirtlab ride days are cool. They're a cool event to put on, and basically we just try to bring everybody together to have a good time. Yeah, there's a few plans I have. It's just you kind of gotta base it off of other dates. I mean, you try to get everybody together on the same weekend. I know the Arena Cross schedule just came out. And then you have mini-O's, you have, Alabama. There's an Alabama State Championship AMA #1 plate race coming up at Monster Mountain there in November.
Yeah, they rescheduled that, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it's going to be in December sometime earlier. Something I don't know the actual date.
Wow, it's gonna be cold as hell.
But yeah, so I mean, you have to find a good weekend and something you don't want to plan on top of. I mean, top of someone else as far as that goes, because you want to try to get everybody there and put on a cool event. So, but yeah, we got a few plans. It's something I gotta get together with some owners and some stuff and work out all the details. But yeah, there should be something coming soon.
Good deal. I'll be pumped for that. I'm there anytime you host an event. Like I said, our friendships, over the years, I support everything you do and everything. And I appreciate you supporting this podcast with your promo code. And everybody, don't forget, you still got one lap down. And I know Trevor wanted to do something else for us. We're already over our time limit here, but we're gonna keep smashing out. It'll be all right. Yeah. I'll let you tell the listeners a little bit about what you're going to do for us and them.
For sure. And first things first, like I got to tell everyone that's been behind me as far as building the brand, dirtlab. Big shout out, big thank you to everyone that supported us. It's been a good first year. We've enjoyed it. Any business has their bumps in the road. There's some things that we could do better sometimes, and we try to strive for greatness. And but no, we're gonna do a giveaway for you guys. Full free set of graphics. And to qualify for this giveaway, you guys got to be a subscriber to the One Lap Down podcast, and then like our Facebook page and follow our Instagram. You do those things, the winner will be announced next week. We'll once you win, we get with you, get you a discount code, we'll get you a free set. We'll work with you on what you want for your bike and get you dialed in, get you looking.
Yeah, I want to real quick elaborate on the giveaway. I know I talked to Trevor and Shane, and I even talked to my wife about this. I know how we did the giveaway for the goggles and backpack last week. I know that was a little too much, and so we're trying to simplify it now. So if you are already a subscriber to our YouTube and you already like and follow Dirt Lab Concepts on Instagram and Facebook, you are still eligible to win.
Yes.
If you're already subscribed, you're already liking and following. You just need to, at best, if you can, comment on our YouTube when we upload this video. Comment on the YouTube already, subscribe, liked, whatever. But just to let everybody know, if you are already subscribed to us and you're already liking and following Trevor at Dirt Lab, you're basically already in it. Yeah. So I think that's fair enough, and so that way it's a little easier for us to keep up with things, and it simplifies on our giveaways. And so, yeah, go like and follow Dirt Lab Concepts on Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to One Lap Down on YouTube. And like I said, we've got the random pick generator that randomly picks the winner out of however many people, are entered in it. And so, once again, go like and follow Dirt Lab. Go subscribe to our YouTube. If you already are doing all three, perfect, great, you're entered. So, but I would like to say you need to listen anyways. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah. You got to stay informed.
Yep. So
yeah, for sure. Well, Trevor, we appreciate you. Oh, one more thing too. Hey, guys, for real, jerseys. Send me your jerseys. I got Callaways on the way. Got 2-time Loretta Lynn's 30+ champion Nick Hayes has also donated us a jersey as well. That's gonna be on its way. He said he'd autograph it for me. I'll have it hanging up here. Cool dude. But yeah, appreciate everything so far. I don't know who next week's guest is, but we'll drum up somebody and we'll get him on here. And like I said, we appreciate Trevor coming on, and as always, we appreciate you listening to One Lap Down MX Pod. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Later.